Delighted. My guest today is Rebecca Feguson, just come off. Your first time at Boysdale?
It's the first time. It's nice. I love Boysdale now. Yeah, it's lovely. I'll be coming for meat food, I think.
No, you should do that. I know it's a bit later than last time, which is good.
Yeah.
So it's The Lady Sings the Blues.
Yeah.
What was the inspiration to do that album?
I think it was suggested to me by two people actually in the industry, and they said that they've been looking for somebody to cover Billie Holiday's work and they hadn't found anybody they thought was right for it. And then they approached me and said, would you be interested? And at first I wasn't sure because I write a lot of my own music. But then I started playing around with demos. We started from scratch, we stripped it back, got on the piano, and then I listened back and I just fell in love with it. And I fell in love with jazz music because there's just a freedom with jazz music. Like even today when I was on stage, it's probably the freest I've ever felt, if I'm honest, because I just kind of thought, you know what, just express yourself. And I love that about jazz, that you can just be who you want to be, which is, it's different from pop. You can have a bum note in jazz. It's kind of, and it's the same with the players, with the pianist, and you know, you can do what you like, and I love that. Yeah. I
had a very intimate crowd tonight. How did you find that?
It was nice. You know what? It was funny because it was different than performing at one of my concerts because I was aware that people were having the meal. So I didn't overly talk because I thought, no, everyone's having a meal. I don't know, it's a different vibe when you're playing to people who are sitting and eating, really, yeah.
Very interesting. Take me back, I mean, Liverpool, you started very early. What was it like growing up?
Growing up, oh, it was tough. I had quite a tough upbringing, to be honest. It's made me a tough woman. I say tough, I'm a very soft, kind-hearted woman, but I think Liverpool is a city that, I don't know, it's a working class city where people struggle, and it gives you that fire really to want more. Yeah.
Like a lot of great artists, I mean, you came from quite a poor background. And I remember you were saying previously you were bullied at school. Yeah.
I mean, I don't like to focus on that because I always feel like what my mum always teaches me is everyone was bullied at school, you know, in some way. There was always something about someone that didn't fit in, and that's just human nature. And my mum always taught me that, you know, don't focus on the negative, you know, we're all different. And so, yeah, I did have some negative, you know, negativity growing up, but I don't know. It's part of being a kid. We all, you know, you've got fuzzy hair. That was the thing with me.
But it's always interesting because creatively you always find the great writers, it's either about relationships which are broken up or dissolved, or hardships that you have. Actually, that hard upbringing, probably, did you find that helped the creativity?
Yeah, I don't think I would be a singer if I hadn't had the upbringing I've had, because it was that upbringing that fueled me to want more. I was brought up in quite a middle class area, but we lived on a council estate. So it's a bit like how London is. You'll have a £2 million house, but then next to it will be a council estate. That's not the same in Liverpool, but it was that type of upbringing. So I was brought up around people having Chanel bags and Chanel jackets. And my mum used to go to like the local charity shop to get my clothes. But with that, it taught me style as well, because I learned that I had to try and be fashionable on the cheap. So it taught me a lot. But I think a hard upbringing does help your writing, and it also, I think most of the greatest artists have come from a tough background. Yeah, it gives you that fire.
As you say, it makes it real, doesn't it? So you're singing from the heart.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about the X Factor. What people don't always remember is that actually you didn't go through the first time. You tried before on the X Factor and you didn't get through. You also tried for P. Diddy's thing, didn't you?
P. Diddy's Star Maker. I was constantly at auditions. I never stopped. But it was a funny thing really, because it was how can I put it? It was a longing that I couldn't turn off. I studied so many different things. I studied beauty. I trained to be a counsellor, qualified counsellor. Trained to be a beautician, qualified. Trained to be a legal secretary, qualified. And nothing was satisfying me. And I'd keep going for all these courses, and it was just a thing that wouldn't go away. And yeah, so I just threw myself in auditions. I was like, no, I don't want to do this. I want to be a singer. I kept on getting no, constant no, not good enough, not good enough. But I was persistent and kept on knocking back. Yeah, knocking on the door.
And how was the X Factor experience? A lot of people say before you turned up, they talk about you being the first real artist to come out of it. How was the experience?
It's very tough. Oh, you've got to be strong on the X Factor. It's a great Saturday night TV show. We all love it, but as a contestant, it's tough. And you've got to be really, how can I put it? You've got to focus because there's so many distractions as well. Even the house alone, just living with all them people, all the parties, that's enough of a distraction. You know, I had to be very disciplined, yeah.
Very interesting. And Cheryl was your mentor?
Cheryl was, yeah.
How did you get on with her?
Very well, actually. We did get on well. Didn't see it as much as I would have liked to, but we got on very well, yeah.
So the other things that we sort of talk about, going back to the music,
yeah.
You moved from the management, and I know there are lots of difficult times on that sort of stuff, which is sort of well documented, and the recent court cases and things like that.
Oh yeah.
Do you think again that was the sort of it helped when you're looking at the sort of focus? I mean, you talked about from the first album with the sort of progression to freedom. Was that inspirational as a result of that sort of side, as a result of the experiences that you had?
I think I've had ups and downs in the industry. Yeah, a lot of it's well documented. I think some of it did fuel my writing, but it's just, I think it was a part of growing up for me. I was growing up, I was new to the industry. I was only 20, I turned 23 on the show. I mean, I was young. Because I'm now 29, you know, I was young. And all of that was a process and part of learning, and so yeah, everything did fuel my writing. Yeah.
And it's a very difficult industry. It's well documented that there's a lot of pressures on people to perform, and you have 2 young children. How did you find that? I
think the way I approach it now is, so for instance, when I got up and performed today, you know, I had a lousy journey in 3 hours. I kept on seeing ambulances flying by me, and the way I approach pressures now is I just be myself. I get up on that stage and I express myself completely freely. I don't pretend I'm happy when I'm not, which a lot of artists do, and that to me isn't real. I think the best thing any human being can be is express themselves as they are, and that's what I do, and that's how I hope that's how I've survived in the industry. Yeah.
So with the new album, you very proudly talked about some of Frank Sinatra's musicians recording that.
God, I was really lucky. I didn't think I realised how amazing it was, you know, until I got there and I was sitting in Capitol Studios, and yeah, no, I got to work with I worked with people that work with Sammy Davis Jr. I worked with somebody that was in Frank Sinatra's band. Who else did I work with? Gosh, there was so many. Tony Bennett. Yeah, amazing, just amazing artists.
Some amazing people. And finally, you talk about collaborations. You go from quite extremes. I heard recently you're quite interested in maybe working with Kanye West.
Do you know what it is about Kanye? He's really, I like people that, he's one of those people that doesn't care. And again, about freedom in life, I like people that don't care. I like people that aren't afraid to be a fool in front of people. It's kind of like they express themselves as human beings, and that's what I like about Kanye. He's like, this is me, I'm going to blurt this out in an award show, even though it was inappropriate. I am going to do this. And no matter what you think of him, whether you approve or not, he's being himself, and I like that.
Yeah, that's great. Rebecca Feguson, thank you very much. It's a real joy to see you.
Thanks a lot. It was a joy to talk to you. Thank you.